What is up everyone, Bo here from PC Hub. I am so excited to show this game off. I have been wanting to play this for a long time, and I know I have friends who want to play this as well, and we're trying to plan collaborative videos and everything. Oh, we're just so excited about it. But I have to say, I played through one whole time just to get a hang of the game, and now that I do have a hang of everything going on, I figured I would play it, at least the mission that's available to us, all over again. That way all of you fine people can see it for yourselves. Let's get into the first scenario. As you can see, all of these will be included, and most likely more. You can see there's 12 missions here, 36 divided by 3 available to us at the moment. I have to make sure you know that at the moment this game is just going to continue to grow and grow as time goes on, and I'm so excited. So let's go ahead and go into this Goodwin house. We're going to start new here, and let's just get straight into the story. Make sure all of you can experience it for the first time as well.
Heyo at Hematu. Yeah, sorry about that. I have a habit of slipping back into the Blanco language. It's good to finally meet you in person. I'm Bernard, although I insist you call me Bernie. The only person who calls me Bernard is my wife. And even then, only when I've tracked elephant dung into the carpets. As you know, I own several zoos, but I always like to show people the ropes here at my home. This is the first zoo I ever opened, and a source of great pride for me. And prides, thanks to a lion breeding program we ran in the 80s. But we're in the middle of a big renovation, and that's where you come in. Sadly, our old contractor had to retire after developing a fur allergy. Poor devil kept sneezing his dentures into the lion habitat. So, it's up to you to finish everything off. Don't worry, though. I'm not completely throwing you in at the deep end. My head keeper, Nancy Jones, will be lending a helping hand. Oh, she's a hard worker, and she'll expect you to be too. But I'm sure you'll get along like a house on fire, or even better, one that isn't on fire. Less shouting that way.
Hello there. From that rosy, fresh face of yours, I'm guessing you're Bernie's new hire. Good. Now, I hope you're ready to ditch your diploma, because we're about to get really hands-on. But before we begin the real work, how about we familiarize you with the zoo by learning how to fly around it and visiting some of our beautiful animals? We'll start by popping over and having a look-see at the grizzly bears in their habitat. Did you know that grizzly bears, also known as Ursus arctos horribilis, can hibernate for up to 7 months a year? Oh, but then again, given the chance, I think a lot of people would do that too. Select one of the bears and you'll bring up its information panel. This is where you can find out all kinds of information about your animal. The most important thing being its overall welfare. You'll learn more about animal welfare today as we go through your objectives. But for now, let's enjoy this magnificent animal. Why don't you select the camera at the bottom of its information panel? See now, this is a fantastic way to get a close look at your animals. You can also get this view of an animal by simply double-clicking on it. Okay, when you're ready, let's pop over to the other side of the zoo and take a look at the lions. I've marked their location for you to find.
I had to, I'm sorry. So there's some pretty impressive thing. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Did you hear the people out there going, ew? That is so cool. The detail in this game is amazing, even if it just comes to pooping bears. really, I mean, seriously, these are two very nice looking bears. You can tell just looking underneath their names, both Zachary and Nakidra here, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly or not, are both 5-star grizzly bears with great genetics or just animal rating, I suppose. The animal appeal, of course, is a silver on Nakidra and oh gosh, I don't even know if that's gold or a bronze. That one's got 3 dots, whereas this one has 2 dots, but is a silver. But at the same time, it's not very gold looking. Anyway, let's see. I gotta see. 4,500, 4,500. I'm not sure. That remains a mystery. I'm sure I'll find out as time goes on. Let's go ahead and keep going on this bronze star thing so we can finish this up. We're going to be checking out the Western lion.
Lions are the most social of the big cats, and there can be as many as 40 lions in a pride, although prides of that size are pretty rare. As Bernie would say, those lions are awesome. Which is precisely why I handle the training instead these days. Anyway, how about we get started on those objectives? Come on, let's head over to our warthog habitat and see what needs doing there.
Ridiculously cute. So I know I'm skipping around a lot now, and I have to say, you've probably noticed that at times it does get a little jittery, and I have to explain that just a little bit to you. I did put this on a high graphics setting, and it just didn't do the game justice. This is an amazingly beautiful game with so much detail. I couldn't do it by just making a video where it was only in a high graphics.
It's a lovely space for warthogs, but it's missing a certain something. Well, 2 somethings. The warthogs. So I'd like you to adopt a pair of them. To adopt animals, we need to open the animal market, which is in the animal trading section. There we are, a pair of perfectly splendid warthogs for our zoo. Just click on them and select Buy from the side menu. Normally the animal exchange would be full of animals, but I've emptied out the market while you learn how it works. The last thing I need is you accidentally ordering a dozen elephants. When you adopt an animal, it's automatically placed in the trade centre, where they're held until you're ready to move them into their habitat, which, as it happens, you are. So how about you move them into their new home? When you ask for an animal to be moved into a habitat, your caretakers will go to the trade centre, collect your animal, and deliver them to your selected habitat. I've marked the trade centre's location, so let's go and watch the caretakers in action. Well, as you can see, those caretakers don't hang about. They'll move those animals to their destination as fast as possible. Of course, normally we'd have to place the animals into quarantine before moving them into a habitat, but I am assured by a person of good standing that these warthogs are in the very rudest of health. Right, let's get the warthog's habitat finished up so we can keep them nice and happy. You see, each animal in the zoo has an overall welfare statistic, basically how happy they are. And that overall welfare statistic is itself comprised of 4 different areas: nutrition, social health, habitat, and enrichment. Luckily, if you select an animal, you'll bring up their animal welfare information panel, which we saw earlier, where you can see how they're doing. That way, you'll know exactly what areas need to be addressed. Don't worry if that's a lot to remember. You can always check the Zoopedia for more information. Let's start by making sure we're taking care of the warthog's nutrition welfare. To do this, we'll need to place a food station and a drinking station. Now, each animal requires a different type of feeding station, and for the warthogs, it's a small feeding trough. So let's add one of those and a water bowl.
So we've already placed them.
Require stimulation to keep them happy. Let's add a lovely mud bath for the warthogs to roll around in. That bath will count towards their enrichment welfare, specifically their toy enrichment welfare.
So just to take a little moment here, if I can get a gap in between everyone talking for the story here, there is barriers, habitat, nature, facilities, construction, all in here. And I have to say I've kind of been picking up a little bit on which kind of things are being hidden in here, but you will see that in the habitat category, there is enrichment items, there are beds and shelters, there's bedding and shelters in beds and shelters, heaters and coolers, of course, and then food and water. Now, because of this stage in the campaign, we're not able to view all the different things that are usually available in each of those categories, but I wanted to show you that because there are certain things in the campaign that will specifically ask you to do certain objects, such as when we go into enrichment here, and you can see that there's in food enrichment, there's toy enrichment, and social enrichment. So those are all going to be very important when 0% toy enrichment can easily be fixed by adding this mud bath. So let's go ahead and do that.
Oh, nice work. You've got a knack for this, I see. Now, our contractor had to leave in a hurry, so this place is in a fair old state. Unfinished thingamajigs and whatsits all over the shop. But the first thing we need to finish is the ostrich habitat. It's over near the hippos.
So another thing I've seen throughout the first playthrough is that the zookeepers kind of take their time to get to your exhibits. Let's see if he turns go. Oh, he did. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Because sometimes they definitely take their time, and I just don't get it sometimes. But anyway, let's see. We're just going to make sure that those get filled because I did see that they are hungry. Look at that nutrition, severe issues. So we're going to keep that in mind as we make our way over to what is to become the ostrich exhibit. So we've located this highlighted area.
Okay, job number 1 here is to add a habitat gate before we complete the barrier. Every habitat needs a habitat gate. After all, how else would the keepers get in and out? Just make sure it's hooked up to the path so the keepers can reach it. Right, let's complete the perimeter barrier so we can adopt us some ostriches. I've marked out an area for you to use, so I'd like you to finish off the perimeter using the brick barrier.
So, to get into this walls, when I played this first, I really did not know how many things we had at our disposal to change the way this wall is. But if you can look over to this right side here, you can see all of the different settings that we have for this wall. We are going to be using a brick wall here, and you might be thinking, oh, you can't see very much through this brick wall, which our Goodwin House representative will start talking about. Nancy, I suppose, I can't remember her name. Nancy will start talking about here soon, but let's see here. So you can see at this moment I have the wall length set to 3 meters. Now I can go down here and set the length to 6 meters all the way up to 20 meters, which is kind of long for what we need, but we can go to, how about 10, just to make it simple to deal with. If I can get to 10, can we get to 10? Come on, work it. Oh, how about 8? 8's good. I'm happy with 8. We also have straight and curved here. Now I'm gonna make the length a little bit shorter so I can get a little more custom on this to get a little tighter fillet on this fence here. And then we're gonna move it to be straight after this point. So I can go to straight sections, and now I'm dealing with straight fences. And then we're just gonna make our way down to this fence and connect.
Remember, before you can place animals in any habitat, it has to have a full loop of connected barrier. Now, you've probably noticed that guests can't actually see into this habitat at the moment. At least not without a stepladder. But seeing as they're banned, I'd like you to select a piece of barrier and swap out the brick for a glass barrier so the guests can see in.
Now, something I was finding pretty cool about this brick wall is that even though Nancy does talk about swapping out this wall for glass, you can in fact just click on the wall here and then change it to a window of glass. How cool is that? Now you have your brick wall and you have a window going through it, which I think is a lot cooler than the wall of glass, which Nancy wants us to do. So let's go ahead and do that for the campaign.
Windows gives guests even more opportunities to see the animals in a habitat. It's always best to make sure the guests can get a good view into a habitat from the path they're walking on, because it makes them happy, and because this would be a pretty terrible zoo if they couldn't. The last thing we need to do is to add a donation box. You see, when guests enjoy the view of an animal, they'll make a donation. Just make sure you put them in easy-to-reach places, like near a viewing point. Donation boxes are one of the main sources of income for the zoo, so make sure you remember them. All right, you've finished the habitat, so it's high time we adopted those ostriches, don't you think? Let's get 4 of them in here.
We're going to get those ostriches in here in just a moment here. I really wanted this to be glass. Is it not going to let me make it glass? Ah, frustrating. Okay, fine. Campaign, I'll do what you want. Let's see here. We're going to go to the animal training menu. I will say at the end of this campaign, after we get about two stars, a bronze and a silver, it does kind of relax and allow us to be a little more fun with our campaign zoo here. Let's go ahead and put this in the habitat, and then we'll just adopt the rest of these. Kind of doing it out of order there, but that's okay. As long as we get them all into this habitat, we should be just fine. Get these into this habitat here, and the last one.
While we wait for them to be collected by the caretakers and brought to the habitat, you should get it ready for them. Add a suitable feeding station, water station, and an appropriate food enrichment item. It's often best to place things like enrichments and feeding stations near to the habitat perimeter, so guests can get a really good view of the animals.
So just to go into some detail here on moving objects, you can go, they usually will give you a little tab over to the left showing you controlling different things you can do with objects. Now, to go up and down, you can simply hold shift and drag. You can also use control, and that will kind of allow you to move it back and forth. Now, holding Z will allow you to rotate it, and so if we want something like this that wants to be on the ground but not clipping so much that the grass is showing through, we can do something like that. And now we have a water trough that looks like it's sitting pretty darn close to the ground without seeing the grass shining through it. We're also going to go over and add a food bowl. This one we're going to move closer to the glass wall here so that our guests can view it. And you can see we have some clipping problems, so we're going to raise it up here. Let's see, there we go. And boom.
Oh, good to see the ostriches have somewhere they can really stretch their legs. Did you know they can actually run at 43 miles per hour? Oh, heaven forbid they ever escape. The speed camera fines alone would bankrupt us.
Well, Bernie certainly seems impressed. Did you do his speed camera joke? Every time we get an ostrich. So, now we've made the ostriches' lives a bit better, let's do the same for the keepers, shall we? To make it easier for the keepers to feed the ostriches and hippos, we should build a new keeper hut. Keeper huts are where the keepers prepare the food for animals, so they should be placed near to the habitats to make sure the keepers don't waste their time walking when they should be looking after the animals. This keeper hut
Not
only
exactly
has
where I
space
wanted
for
to
one
place
keeper,
that.
but the larger keeper hut can allow multiple keepers to prepare food at the same time. Oh, but bear in mind that keeper huts and other staff facilities shouldn't be placed near to areas where there are lots of guests. Guests don't like seeing facility buildings, and it can affect their happiness. Negatively. In case that wasn't clear. Something that all facilities, shops, and a whole host of other objects need is power. And that obviously includes your newly built keeper hut. So let's place a transformer next to it, shall we?
Come on,
Now, the reason everything has gone blue is because you're using the power heat map. This map allows you to see what is and what isn't powered in your zoo. So once you've placed your transformer, you can click in the bottom left to turn the heat map off. Lovely work. Now the keepers can start using the hut to prepare food, and thanks to where you've put it, they won't need to walk very far to deliver it to the ostriches and hippos. Let's get on to your next objective then. Bengal tigers. We want to adopt some, but I'm afraid there's nothing ready for them yet. Head on over to the plot of land I've marked out. It's not too far away.
So now that we've got, like she said, like Nancy had told us all, we've got our ostrich exhibit all set up. We've got the staff building and electricity here all set up for the ostriches. We're not able to really change the environment at the moment. That will unlock when we start working on the tiger exhibit.
So your next job is to build a habitat. From scratch. And wood and concrete, I expect. So go ahead and build it. And don't forget the habitat gate. It's always best to place the habitat gate close to the keeper hut. As it happens, there's one quite near to the trade centre. Oh, and make sure the guests will be able to see the tigers.
So when we're building this, you can see that this staff path is rather curved here, so we are going to start out by making a curved path. Now, I'm going to make sure that this pillar here is nice and flush with the path, and we're going to start out like that. Let's go ahead and add this in here. I'm going to go ahead and make the wall rather long here because we do have a lot of room to make up. Now I'm going to shorten it a little bit just to make it a little clean. And let's do something like that. Can you give me like 12? There we go. Perfect. Now, you can't really tell, but I can show you. When I try to move over and do a right angle, because it is curved, it's not going to allow me to do that. For changing that to a right angle, we're going to go back to the straight sections here. And this is going to allow me to do more of a right angled curve. Not a right angle, but a right angle. Not a right angle curve, but a right angle, like I said first. Let's go ahead and put something like that down, and then go back to 12, I think. Ooh, 11 would be better if we could get it, is the thing. I don't think we can, though. We'll move it afterwards. That's something we can do. Let's just place this wall where we want it for now, and then we can go back and edit as needed. Placing down these walls. Ooh, that ended up in a great place. We're going to go back to curved because this is a oh, no. Spoke too soon, everyone. Now we'll go back to curved. Here we go. Curve around this wall here. And, oh, we're a little short, so we're just going to extend the wall a little bit just so we can go to this corner. And you see how nice and clean that is. Now, something I was having difficulty with in the beginning was understanding how to change the height on the entire fence. And what was messing with me was the gate that I put in beforehand. So to make things easier, I'm going to go ahead and adjust the height of everything right now before I even put the gate in and before I change anything from brick to glass. So we're going to go ahead. You can see as I want to change the height, it's going to be this little dongle here, and I can actually go to a height snap, which is not, you know, if I get rid of that, it'll allow me to do 2.3, 2.36 meters in height. But because we kind of want it to be nice, I that's just me, maybe I want it to be nice and stuck at 4 at least. I'm going to keep that height snap on and then just drag up. Now we do have some uneven walls over here, and that's just gonna have to be the case. But let's go ahead and raise this up. We are gonna need a little bit more, and now we'll get rid of this height snap because we are very close to 4. Let's just drag it until all of the parts of the wall are at 4. Now I could go around, of course, and change each of these individual pieces to be 4 meters high, but that would just kind of be difficult to do. Let's hope that that all works just the way we want it. The set boundary to 4 meters high hasn't clicked off, but that's okay for the moment. Let's add a habitat gate here. I kind of want it to be close. And you can see how
Bernie takes safety very seriously at his zoos, so we should probably make sure those tigers can't jump out of their habitat, don't you think? The way we'll do it is by changing the height of the habitat's barrier. Okay then, you should start by double-clicking the habitat barrier, which will take you into barrier editing mode. Great, now highlight the entire perimeter of the habitat. You can do that by clicking and dragging the barrier selection tool. Now you've got all of the perimeter selected, you can increase the height of it by clicking and dragging the barrier height tool upwards. You'll want to make sure it reaches a minimum height of 4 meters.
She makes it sound so easy, but I really had a difficult time doing it. We're going to go ahead and raise this because it is the one piece that isn't 4 meters at the moment. Oh my goodness gracious. Let's go ahead and raise that up, and then we'll raise this up to level it off at 4 meters. Can't see the height at the moment, but I'm assuming it's got to be close to 4.
Okay, that's the habitat boundary complete, the habitat gate in place, and most importantly, the tigers won't be able to jump out of it anymore. I think it's time we adopted those tigers.
Okay, so before we even get our tigers in, or maybe we'll just go ahead and order these tigers and have them shipped, and then we'll edit the wall while we're waiting. Let's go ahead and get these 2 tigers. They're rather expensive in comparison to the other animals we've been dealing with. Let's send to zoo. Boop. And last one in Trade Center. Send to zoo. Boop.
Whilst our trusty caretakers collect and deliver the tigers, let's take a look at preparing the habitat for their arrival. We'll start with the basics. Add a suitable feeding station for them.
Not going to allow me to add in some viewing. Wow, there he goes. We don't want to miss this. Wow, the Bengal tiger. Ooh, so cool, so beautiful. They're just, the animals in this game are amazing. Because this is going to be along the guest path here, we're going to go ahead and move the food tray closer to where they are. And it doesn't really matter how it's rotated, but what does matter is that the grass isn't clipping through it, at least the short grass.
This time, instead of adding a water bowl, let's try something different. Some animals need a pool in their habitat so they can go for a swim, but they can also use it to drink from. All you have to do is make sure the banks of the pool have a gentle slope so they can easily get a nice, refreshing drink. There's already a pool excavated, but you still need to fill it with water. You should do that by going into Terrain and selecting the water tool.
Now, something I did learn about this is that evidently, I don't know if this is a bug with its current state being in beta and all that, but currently it seems like there are some animals that will use the water provided in the, in the environment to drink from, but other animals are just kind of choosy. I had a hippo who would rather die from dehydration in my previous campaign than drink out of the water. But seeing as though these are tigers, I'm guessing they're going to be okay with it.
Yes, that'll do nicely.
Wow.
Of course, just like the warthogs and ostriches, these tigers will also need some enrichment. Why don't you add some suitable toy and food enrichment items into their habitat?
The water is amazing. I mean, it literally just adapts. Oh, and we can go underwater too. Oh, and I love the audio change. It even sounds like we're coming out of the water. Oh my gosh, this game, the detail they have put into it is amazing. Okay, sorry. That's my little... I'm just excited. Here we go. We have a frozen blood pumpkin here, which is great for Halloween. Let's go ahead and put this over here closer to the viewing area when we're able to put it in. As you can see, I still can't add in glass walls here. Ever since I put in the brick walls, it's been rather difficult to deal with. Let's look at our objectives real quick. We need to add a toy enrichment. Now that's a food enrichment for the tigers, but we still have a toy enrichment. Let's switch to the toys, and we'll put in this toy that they can play with. This one, I kind of liked it being up there, but let's change that and maybe do like right here or something.
Okay, it's really starting to take shape. Now, the tigers will need a shelter in their habitat so they can hide from the guests, or more likely the bad weather. Although given that we're in England, you might want to think of that just as normal weather. Go on, add a shelter to their habitat. You can either build one from various suitable bits and bobs, or if you like, just pop down the blueprint that I've already built for you.
So this is a cool feature. I'm sure I might just be beating a dead horse with some of this stuff. If you've been watching this Planet Zoo news for as long as a lot of you have been, you probably know that you can simply put down a bedding and then build a sort of environmental shelter for your animals. But given that they give this for the campaign, we're just going to go ahead and plop it down here. Let's rotate it. Yep, right around here. I'm gonna change our view so we can see a little bit better. Don't want any clipping with the wall.
Oh, poor Dabs. I'm sure it can't have escaped your attention that the tigers look a bit miffed. That's because they aren't too keen on the type of terrain in their habitat. Select a tiger and bring up its information panel.
I didn't have the height right as I was looking for it against the wall there. There we go. No gaps. No gaps underneath. So what we found here is we're finally being...
Click on the Terrain tab. That way you can view the terrain information and see how they feel about the different types of terrain. That'll tell you what the tigers need more of or less of in this habitat.
We're finally being able to change the terrain now.
Okay then, open the terrain editing tool, select painting, and give them some more soil. Yes, that should help with the habitat part of their welfare.
So we can see here that the grass, this little line represents where we are currently, and then the white bar represents where they're comfortable with it being. So there's currently too much long grass in their habitat. They really would like some soil. So we're going to go ahead and add in some soil. Let's start with the shelter here. Just add in that soil. It really does slow down the game engine when I do this. So I'm going to try to keep it nice and smooth, but we'll just have to see how that goes. I like to get this soil up around this point here. And then around the pond to try and just give it that kind of dirty pond look. And then back to the shelter and around these items. We'll just make it nice and soily where this is. Now you can see that we are kind of in this weird spot where we don't have enough short grass, so we're just going to change some of this long grass.
All animals need plants and trees from their own biome or continent. You know, deserts, savannas, or Asia, Europe, that sort of thing. It looks like these tigers need a few more plants in their habitat. To get a perfect fit, use plants from the rainforest and temperate biomes that are native to Asia. Although if you have to, you can get away with using just one or the other. The tigers will also want a certain amount of their habitat to be covered by those plants. To find out which plants to use and how many, select a tiger and go to the Environment tab. As you can see, some of the plants currently in the habitat aren't quite right for the tiger, like the wattle bushes. You can remove them if you want. You can find all of the plants you need in the nature section, and you can use the filters to only show the types of plants you want to see. In this case, that's plants from the rainforest or temperate biomes.
So adjusting the plants and stuff is certainly something you can go wild with. Just looking at this, the hookthorn acacia tree and the wattle bush are two things they're not very happy with at the moment. So we have this wattle bush here that we're just going to delete, and this one we're going to delete, and this one we're going to delete, and then this tree over here. Now this is something I really haven't figured out yet, but I feel like there should be an easier way to select a few things and delete them. Now I can certainly do something like that, or I can just do something like that, but I really just want a way to hit a trash can and delete multiple things without having to select this square thing selection tool. That's just something that's kind of been brought to my attention while playing, but I'm sure that's available to me and I really just haven't noticed it. Let's go ahead and go back to the environment so we can see what's going on here. They're really missing plants, and then at the same time you can see there's coverage, and this kind of defines the whole area in their little enclosure here. And this is kind of how much of their enclosure they want plants to inhabit. So you can see they really want a lot of space in their enclosure, but at the same time, they want a lot of plants. And that plants is going to change based on the type of plants we put in. If we put in a tree versus a bush, it's really going to change some things. Let's go ahead and we can see that our biomes are tropical, temperate, and grassland, and our continents are Asia. We're going to go ahead and go to filters, go to continent, type in Asia, not type it in, but click Asia, and go ahead and close that. And then, like I had mentioned, tropical, temperate, and grassland are going to be the ones we select. And this kind of lets us know what plants we can use. Let's close this filter tab just so we can see the area a little bit better, and we'll start adding things in. We have taller coconut palm here that kind of had neat bends to them, and they look great around areas like this pond here. Now you can see it, you can even put it on a rock if you want, and you can still lower it up and down if you want it to be kind of hanging close to the pond here. Let's go ahead and do something like that. Just like a low-hanging palm that hasn't grown up very much. And let's go ahead and add some of these smaller palms. Let's see, with the height change here, kind of got options. And throw down. So you can see the coverage is starting to get there. Plants, we can add some more shorter palms here. Coconut palm. We'll just add some more trees. How about we add some by the shelter here? And maybe over here, close to these other plants. Maybe some smaller plants just for some variety. Oh, they already ate their whole pumpkin. They were hungry. Oh, they're the one animals that are okay with the bracken bushes. That was such a joke. I kept going around going, oh my gosh, so many animals hate these bracken bushes. And they're just the bushes that came with this kind of British biome. Let's go ahead and add some of these in. We'll add a smaller one there. Don't believe we can add any rocks yet, and there's some smaller ones. What else do we have? We need more coverage. Now these baobab trees are giant, and they would look super cool in here. Let's see if we can pull something off. Maybe that. It's a little extreme, but I dig it.
They say the good fences make good neighbors. I guess that's doubly true when one of the neighbors is a Bengal tiger. Still, those tigers look so happy that I doubt they'd leave, even if you did poke a hole in their fence. Oh, but for heaven's sake, don't test that theory.
Right, let's head over to the Indian peafowls. I've been told that we need to improve their social welfare.
Okay, so now we've kind of been given a little more... Oh gosh, we don't. We have to continue before it lets us have a little free form. Let's move over to these peafowls to see what's going on. I think we still have a little bit more to learn.
Just find one of the peafowls and select them to open an information panel. Then we can have a good gander at how they're doing. Although technically, I suppose gandering would just be for geese. Expand their social welfare, and we can get a bit more detail. Now, they've clearly got plenty of space, and they're not stressed, but it looks like their social group isn't quite right. So let's find out more. Click on the social tab at the top of their information panel to see what's wrong. Right, as you can see, the peafowls need their population to be larger. To solve this little problem, you'll need to adopt 3 more female peafowls. Well, off you pop to the animal market.
So it seems like we need a few more peafowls to adjust this adult population of the peafowl. I can see they have a lot of other problems, including the habitat and the enrichment, but let's go ahead and change this. Can you hear those picketers in the background? That's kind of interesting. Something I've seen from some of the pictures and video of Planet Zoo, but haven't seen yet. Let's add these in here. And one last one.
Good work on those peafowls. I expect they'll be delivered soon. But sadly, it sounds like our snow leopard is a bit grumpy. Let's head over there and see what's wrong with her.
Okay, it seems like the peafowl have a lot more that we could do with, but we're going to move on to something else here. The snow leopard, who is lacking some snow, it looks like.
Like people, animals can suffer from stress if things aren't quite right. You know, like when you see someone put in the milk before the tea bag. In the case of these snow leopards, they're a bit stressed by their lack of privacy. You can lower their stress levels by swapping out the normal glass barriers for one-way glass. It's not a cheap option, but I think they're worth the expense, don't you? This will give the snow leopards somewhere to go when they want to get away from the prying eyes of the guests.
This had me going for a while here, but it seems like the one they want us to change is the one looking straight in to its bedroom. This is where it wants to sleep, not be looked at by people. Crazy designers. Let's go ahead and change this to this one-way glass.
When an animal isn't in its natural biome, it's probably going to be too hot or too cold. Unsurprisingly for the snow leopard, it's too hot. Even with the terrible British weather, you should help cool it down by adding some coolers to their habitat. But let's start by opening up the temperature heat map and having a look-see at the temperature in the leopard's habitat.
So this heat map is down here on the left. You'll once it's brought up, you can see there's lots of options, and one of them is the temperature map.
As you can see, we already have one cooler in there. Let's pop some more down and get as much of the habitat as chilly as we can. Luckily for us, this habitat already has power, but you'll need to make sure of that in the future. Just so you know, if any part of a habitat is powered, then the whole habitat will be powered.
Now, something that kind of annoyed me when placing these down is that they don't give you a view of what it is covering until you've already plopped it down. So we're going to go ahead and plop it down, and you'll see a blue circle representing what it's covering. And just for the sake of doing the mission, we have to place down 3 of them. So let's go ahead and place one down here and another one down over here.
You can find heat maps for all sorts of helpful things, so do be sure to explore them and make good use of them. It'll take a little while for the temperature to adjust once you've added coolers or heaters, but now we've got the coolers in, we can address the leopards' terrain welfare. You see, what the leopards really want in here is snow and rock, so let's make that happen.
Now this is pretty cool here. You will see that around my temperature things here, the snow will appear really well, but in areas that are being missed, let's bring this back up again, like this area around here in this corner over here, the snow is actually going to melt, and that is really cool. Let's see, I'll show you. So the snow, and the game slows down a lot right now, the snow comes on pretty thick when you're pretty close to the cooler. As I move over to the second cooler, you can tell it's very thick, and even going into the little shelter for the leopard there. But as we move closer to this wall, it's gonna start melting. You see that? See how it melts as it's closing to the wall because it's outside of the reach of the cooler. I just think that is a super detail, kind of addressing how important it is to make sure you have as much coverage as possible.
All of that should give you a pretty good understanding of how to make animals happy. So I'd like you to go and check on all the other animals in the zoo and fix up any issues with their habitats. That'll increase the average welfare of the animals across the whole zoo. And that average welfare is a very important statistic. Now, to quickly see how all your animals are doing in the zoo, you should go into Zoo Management and then into the Animals section.
I just love the look of this rough rock. It just has a great texture on it. Look at that. It just looks like a cave. A little cave with some snow back in there. Ah, so cool. Okay, let's keep following this campaign here. We're gonna go ahead, and we've been giving full reign on this whole zoo here. We've been given all the barriers, we've been given the habitats and nature. One thing I'm gonna do right to begin with is change this darn wall. Oh my gosh, this has been bothering me. Let's go ahead and do that. And then all the way over to here, we're gonna change this to glass. And finally, they can view the tigers, which is important. Okay, let's go ahead and open up the zoo management so we can see what's going on.
As you can see, this list shows you the animals' overall welfare. So if something's amiss, then you can quickly pop over to them using the locate button. Right, I'm off for a cuppa while you make sure all the animals are well looked after.
So you can see we do have some critical positions for these animals. We have a timber wolf that's in a crate right now. We have some lemurs that are in a crate. Let's go ahead and check up on those lemurs since there seems to be multiple lemurs that are unhappy right now. Check in on the lemurs. Nutrition. They're missing out on some nutrition here. What do we have? Monkey chow, fruit, and herb. So why aren't you eating? Oh, you seem okay. Enrichment. Food enrichment is low, so we're going to go ahead and go into food enrichment and raise up. Let's see, what do we got? What can we put in here? It's this forage box that's a giant, but it'll work. Is there any other options that we can use for a lemur? Not at the moment. So we're going to put down this giant foraging thing here. Put it over here for them to play in and find some food. That was something that happened to me quite a bit. Cleanliness, which is going to be improved by our zookeeper going around feeding that. Terrain-wise, let's see what we're missing here. The grass, there's too much short grass, but what they really want is some good soil. I'm going to go ahead and increase the size here. Not that much, though. And just throw down this soil because they really want some darn soil in their enclosure, and that shouldn't be a hard thing to give them. There we go. All of a sudden we are done, and they're a lot happier. Okay, happy lemurs, happy life. Let's go ahead and check out the rest of them. Severely dehydrated. We'll go take a drink. Hydration. This can let's make sure just a second. Make sure that it can drink from this. Ring-tailed lemur right there. So, yeah, we're just kind of in a situation where we're really just waiting for it to drink. We'll throw down another water bowl just to make sure that it does get attention that it deserves. We're going to unbox all the animals. Sometimes that seems to happen a lot with the lemurs. I'm not really sure what's going on there. Let's release this timber wolf. I'm not really sure why it's all boxed up. What's wrong, bud? It's missing out on some enrichment. Oh, it needs a lot of enrichment. Let's go into the enrichment tab and throw down some enrichment for this guy. Or is it a girl? I can't... Oh, it is a girl. Oh my goodness. Not gonna like a pumpkin. What about this? Timberwolf is gonna love this ball to play with, though. Let's throw this down. And play around with that ball. And just a plain old toy he wants to play with. How about a chew toy? Yep, just like my old dog Bjorn. He's gonna love a chew toy to play with. And seems like that's gonna really help out. Everything else seems to be, oh, the grass is way too long and he really wants some more soil. Do that real quick here. Just change some of this. A lot of the animals like soil. Just like some good old dirt to play around in, I guess. You can make some of this shorter grass, I guess. I don't even know what longer grass do you have left? There we go. Got the long grass down, but now they have too much soil. Let's throw down some more short grass to kind of balance it all out. There we go. There we go. Happy wolves, happy me. Let's, we have a lemur that's close to death. No, don't be close to death. Let's make sure that they have some sort of food here. We can do a food tray of some sort. Are those good? Let's check. Good. No. Got platforms. And they like platforms, but they currently already do have a platform. They're just not eating from it. Can we do this? No. Okay. Just giraffes here. So there's really not much more I can do for eating. I guess maybe we can move it and hope that they kind of adjust to it a little bit better. Let's go ahead and check up on this peafowl. My goodness, they keep getting trapped in this darn thing. Check up on our peafowl here. Like we said before, the terrain is just wrong. I mean, they are stuck in this really cool area. I'll give them that. But they really want less short grass and a lot more soil. Let's give them what they want. Give them what they want. It's not going to look as pretty, I understand. A lot more soil. We can also do longer grass here. in this hedge area where they're not going to be able to see it. The guests, I mean. See, they seem a lot happier now. Let's go ahead and add in Asia temperate plants here. Let's see if we can find a good... See, we're already in the Asia. Let's go to biome, get rid of tropical and grassland, and then get some, I don't know, get some bamboo. I think that would look nice. Put it in these little clumps in here. Does that seem good? Yep, okay. Oh, throw that in there. Oh, we have too much coverage now. Well, my mistake. I must have been misunderstanding what we needed. Exit. I don't want to edit the bush. We can help with the enrichment, though. Let's go ahead and do that. We can go to enrichment food, and then one of these is going to be good for a peafowl. Let's see. That'll work. Let's see if there's anything else. Something smaller. There we go. Something like that. And we can place it somewhere over here. Probably do a second one since they're so cheap. Do something like that. Good deal. Seem to be a lot more happy. They really just don't like all these hedges here. But they seem okay. We're really not doing well with these lemurs. They're really just not interacting with their environment very well. Let's make sure that we have a keeper coming here to help. And after that, we really can't do much more. Here's our keeper coming to help. Hopefully he's able to make some adjustments that can help us finish up this campaign. Gonna help with the cleanliness, looks like. You're not even in the enclosure. What are you doing? Oh gosh. We can't move this guy. No wonder you're dehydrated though. Oh my gosh, you're all stuck out. How do we adjust this? Okay, think Brenton. Oh shoot, they're climbing. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's try to place something down to get them to reset like they were doing beforehand. So, darn, okay. How about this? Nope. Oh, dang. Oh, well, that is certainly what betas do. Not everything is so perfect, and it seems like the campaign's not going to allow me to move this animal, which in a regular campaign we should be able to do. We should be able to hit this M over here. A zookeeper should come, crate it up, and then we can move it anywhere we want, including back into this enclosure, where we'll be able to unbox it like so. And then it can just roam back off and be okay. But instead, we're stuck with some some bugged out lemurs, which is totally understandable for a beta game. All in all, though, I mean, we're really not missing out on much. We just get our third star, our third gold star, and that would be the campaign. I mean, it's really cool, and it's cool because in my last playthrough, I actually had to adjust the enclosure for this zebra and giraffe. So you can see they're not happy either, so we actually would have to do something with them as well. Let's see. I think it was a small... I love the learning curve too, because now I know that they do like this small barrel, and I also know that if I go into the toys here, let's see, they like these rubbing things. Let's see which one it is. Is it this? Is it this one? Yep, they like this, where they can rub up against it.
Not bad at all. I think
There we go.
It's fair to say that you've passed the first part of your training with flying colours. There's still lots more to learn, but we'll have to head to another one of Bernie's zoos for that. If you want to grab your passport, we'll head off, shall we?
So there we go. I mean, that's really all we were missing. I was I was flustered.
Sounds like you got the whole zoo purring away nicely. Well, purring, grunting, screaming, booming. All the appropriate noises. I guess I was right to hire you, huh? Don't tell her I told you, but Nancy wasn't sure you'd even last the morning. So, we're happy this is working out. And Nancy owes me a foxy coffee. As strange as it seems, considering we just met, when I look at you, I feel like you're the child I never had. After the one I did have, obviously. But you see, zookeeping's not for my daughter. Don't get me wrong. Emma absolutely loves animals, but she set her sights somewhat higher. Wants to save the entire planet. I'll just settle for saving a couple of species. Oh, and maybe having a type of frog named after me.
So yeah, that's pretty much the campaign there. I was freaking out about those lemurs that are close to death. It keeps telling me I can't do anything about these lemurs. I'm sorry. Oh, did this one die? Oh, it died. Oh, so sad. And this one's probably close to as well. Poor lemurs. Oh, well, that's our first campaign. The lions are looking good. Our little lion is enjoying a snack right now. So cute, even when just munching away on some dead animal there. So good. Planet Zoo, I mean, so excited. I can click on any of these animals and I'm just stunned. Just the attention to detail, the textures, the modeling, and the lighting. It really ties everything together. I can't get over it. I can't get over the attention to detail on the rock textures, the plants. I mean, we're this close. This is something you would see in like the Hunter Call of the Wild. But I mean, most of the game you're going to be playing from this far away. But I love how you can move in this close and see. And I can't wait to move to, let's go to nighttime. Oh my gosh, and look at those lights. Look at those lights. Oh my goodness, we have some directional lights, more area lights. And all the paths are all lit up. So cool. There's so much you can do in this game. And just imagine, like, this was built for a campaign, but imagine how much work you can put into your own zoo to create something as amazing as this. Planet Zoo, I can't be more excited about it. Things like those lemurs are unfortunate, but that's what beta testing is all about, and it is definitely going to be fixed by the time the game is released. So, thank you all for watching. This has been Bo from BZ Hub playing Planet Zoo, the beta, as it just came out today. And yeah, that's it from me. Like and subscribe for more Planet Zoo videos in the future as we come to the full release. And I'm sure I'm going to be playing more of the beta as well. So take care, everyone. Catch you in the next episode.